US President Donald Trump is tonight attending high-level talks at the country residence of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Earlier, President Trump had bid King Charles farewell, exchanging pleasantries in front of the media as he departed Windsor Castle. Mr Trump then boarded Marine One, which transported him a short distance away to the Prime Minister's Chequers residence, where he was greeted by a ceremonial welcome. The two leaders are scheduled to hold a joint press conference later this evening. Well, the wars in Gaza and Ukraine are expected to dominate their discussions, issues the two have somewhat differing views on. Let's get more on this. Europe Bureau Chief Mazoe Ford is in Windsor and joins us now. Mazoe, what are we expecting from the meeting today between the two leaders?
Well, these are two leaders that have a good relationship despite being from very different sides of the political divide. They have managed to share warm relations and constructive conversations so far, but there are, of course, many areas of which they do not necessarily see eye to eye. But Donald Trump arrived at Chequers within the last hour and was greeted by Sir Keir Starmer there. He landed in Marine One and then got into a motorcade, we're told 15 vehicles long, to travel just 200 metres to meet Sir Keir Starmer there. So more security and more shows of power on this state visit. But the two leaders now sit down together and discuss some of these core issues: trade, tariffs, investment, tech deals, and then foreign policy issues such as the war in Gaza and the war in Ukraine. And then we're expecting a press conference in the coming hours once they've had those discussions.
Now, Mazoe, both the US President and the King made speeches at the state banquet in Windsor, where you are now. There was a lot of flattery going on from both sides.
Yes, Yvonne, it was a very warm reception for the entire day for Donald and Melania Trump, and the state banquet last night was the grand finale of that. We did hear speeches from both His Majesty the King and the US President Donald Trump, and both seemed to be very much sticking to the script. And we so rarely see that with Donald Trump, don't we? Because he had notes in front of them and he read them. And he very much was in lockstep with the King, both of them flattering each other. And Mr Trump saying how thankful he was. He said that this was a highlight of his life to have been given this royal treatment. Throughout the day, we saw him in a carriage procession, inspect a Royal Guard of Honour. There was a royal salute. He paid tribute to the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and there was a beating the retreat ceremony, as well as a fly past of the Red Arrows, which was quite spectacular. This was all for Donald Trump, and all to really try to cement the special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States. It's such a challenging time globally, but he certainly looked impressed throughout the day. He seemed to be very appreciative of what the United Kingdom was laying on for him and his wife, and what the world was seeing on television, because this was very much a made-for-television event. Because of security reasons, no member of the public was close to Donald Trump or Melania Trump. Everything for this state visit was carried out inside those castle walls behind me, and because of that, we didn't have that interaction that we might have seen through the streets of Windsor here like in previous visits. But certainly, as Mr Trump is now at Chequers and will leave, return for the United States this afternoon, there will be a feeling here at Windsor that they did very, very well, that it couldn't have gone better. It's hoped, the United Kingdom hopes, that these talks today, this meeting at Chequers, will be just as successful.
And Mazoe, also at the speeches last night, King Charles praised the AUKUS agreement. How was that received?
Yes, King Charles was standing right next to the US President Donald Trump when he raised AUKUS. He describes it as setting the benchmark for innovative and vital collaboration. That is, of course, the defence agreement between Australia, the United Kingdom and the United States. And there have been doubts about America's support for that agreement in recent times. So to have His Majesty the King raise that, mention Australia next to Donald Trump last night at that very grand state banquet, is surely sending a message that the United Kingdom supports that. Canberra would have been very pleased to hear that as well.
Europe Bureau Chief Mazoe Ford joining us there from Windsor. Thank you.